so strong, girl. I can feel you slipping away.
Hey, man. What's good? Let me put this down. Yes, sir. Yeah. Happy New Year, y'all. Happy New Year, y'all. How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. We got a good end of the season coming up, man. I'm excited. How's everybody doing, man? All right, let's do our check-in. Real quick. Let's do our check-in, man. Welcome back. How's everybody's New Year? I hope everybody had a good time. I hope everybody got to turn up, hang out with family, whatever it is that however y'all like to spend New Year's. I hope y'all had a great time, man. We had a great time. We was drinking, we was just hanging out with our friends. It was great. We had an unbelievable time. We just kicked it. We just stayed inside. I've never been the type of person to go out on New Year's Day. Growing up, my parents were always like, we stay home, we spend it together. You bring the New Year's in together, right, as a family. And I'm not gonna lie, a little part of me growing up used to always be like, man, it'd be cool to go out. Like, it'd be cool to go, like, hit a party or, like, you know what I'm saying? But especially now, I realize that, one, that's not my personality, first and foremost. But two, it just don't look fun. Like, it's full of people. To watch a ball drop, to say Happy New Year, and then could you imagine having to get a Uber or a Lyft to leave one of those parties? Oh, it's got to be a nightmare. So we just like keeping it simple, just chilling. What did we do the next day? We just stayed inside New Year's Day too. We just stayed inside. Did we catch a movie? We might have caught a movie New Year's Day. I don't remember, or the day after that, but regardless, we had a great time. Now, New Year, right? New Year. Back on the running shit. Not a resolution per se, but just trying to get back on my health grind. Went to the doctor's. Blood pressure is not looking great, so it's just a matter of being consistent with it, right? I was able to do it before. It's just a matter of being able to maintain and be consistent. So, we'll hold each other accountable in this process. You feel me? But man, I'm excited, like I said, for the end of the season. I think we're about to have a really great close to this NBA season despite all the shit that's been said about it. I still think it's been an unbelievable year. So we'll get right into it. So let me intro the show real quick. Welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any other topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. Now, today, we're going to start with one of the bigger news from the weekend, which was the Jimmy Butler. He kind of asked for a trade in the post-game interview. But, this has been brewing for weeks, so we'll talk all about that. And then we will talk about whether or not there's a new best player in the world. So we'll talk all about that today. And like I said, we'll start with Jimmy Butler. So let's take a look. Where is this? Let's see. Let's start with this right here, y'all.
I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball, and wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. But I want to joy back. I'm happy here, off the court. I want to be
He said, "I'm happy here off the court." It's
Back to
crazy.
somewhat dominant. I want to hoop, and I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that.
Can you get your joy back here on the court?
Probably not.
So there you have it, Jimmy Butler talking about the situation in Miami. And this was the game. Let me see. Which was this? This was right after they played. Let me see. Where the fuck is it? Who the hell did they play that day? Oh yeah, they got blown out by Utah. That'll do it to you. That'll do it to you. If I lost to Utah by 36, I might request a trade too. But earlier in that post game interview, they were talking about Jimmy Butler's role on the team, being a corner guy essentially. That's why he said, something along the lines of wanting to be dominant and wanting to hoop again, right? To play his game. He's been the best player for the Miami Heat pretty much since he's been there. And, for the first time ever, right? He got suspended in that game. Then it had to have been the game before when they lost to Indiana. Let's see. Played this game. 26 minutes, 6 field goal attempts, right? It's just, let's just call it what it is, right? This situation is over. It's been over, right? And I was watching the Inside the NBA guys react to it, and Charles Barkley said something really interesting, right? He said Pat Riley got rid of Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade, right? Supposed to be the guy for Miami. They gave him a statue. Won 3 championships, actually. And they traded him. So what do you think they're going to do with Jimmy Butler? Right? And it was a great perspective, right? Because players say this all the time, right? Players have to watch how organizations, how teams treat star players going out. And whether Jimmy knew that going in, whether he forgot it, maybe during his time in Miami, they assured him otherwise. But to Charles Barkley's point, this isn't the first time that this has happened. And so to see it happen again, it's a part of Pat Riley and who he is and how he runs his teams, right? So obviously last playoffs didn't help, him talking and Pat Riley coming out and saying something. I might swerve, bend that corner. Oh my God, I forgot. Yo, how do you know the lines, bro? How? How do you know the lines? Like, how? That song just came out. The song just came out. Hey, man, yo. Isn't it funny, though, speaking of that real quick, like, isn't it funny how when Lonzo was coming into the league, that family was public enemy number one. That their dad obviously was the top guy, the head of the family, public enemy number one. To now, years later, NBA guys are bumping Jello Ball's new song in locker rooms. Is a great 180. Greatest rapper in NBA history. I had to do my homework. And honestly, if he does become a rapper, if Jello were to become a rapper for real, he'd be the best hooping rapper. And nobody could guard him. I promise you, nobody could guard him. But, I bet Jimmy wish he got that much. I bet Jimmy wish he got the kind of love Jello is getting right about now. But yeah, man, this Jimmy Butler is over in Miami, y'all. It's over. It's over. It's been over. It was over in the summer. It was over as soon as you saw them and the way they were playing this year and the way they were playing through Tyler Hero. The writing was on the wall. And so I'm sure they've had these conversations since the beginning of the year. I'm almost positive. Jimmy strikes me as a straight shooter. I don't think he minces his words. I don't think he beats around the bush. I think he told them exactly how he felt. And it's been clear that he's wanted an extension, right? And I think for the Miami Heat, they've been clear that they didn't want to give him an extension. And more so than the money, I think it's the years, right? He's 35. Signing a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler to a 3-year extension and then the amount of money that he's getting is the issue, right? So where is Jimmy Butler going to go? You know, for me, from the beginning when the Phoenix Suns came up, they made the most sense. They actually made the most sense to me. Because I think you're swapping two guys that are, it's very even in my opinion. Both guys have had a history of injuries, right? I'll be honest with you. I don't think Bradley Beal is happy on Phoenix. I don't know. I don't know that for sure, but I just don't think he's happy in Phoenix. Jimmy Butler obviously isn't happy in Miami. And then the swap in terms of their play style, I think, would work. Bradley Beal is a scoring, 3-point shooting guard. I think you pair him up with a Tyler Hero. It can work. They can both kind of play the 1 and the 2 throughout the game. And it could very well not work. But on paper, I think it could work. And then you put Jimmy Butler on a Phoenix Suns team. Allow Durant and Book to dominate the 3-point line. And now it gives room and space for Jimmy Butler to dominate below the 3-point line. And at his age, he's still a good basketball player, but to score, be a facilitator, be a playmaker, I think allows Kevin Durant and Devin Booker to play towards their strength, which is to score. You have two guys that are natural scorers, right? I think Devin Booker, over the years, he's had to be a little bit more of a point guard. And I'll be honest, I think it's hurt his game a little bit. He's become a better basketball player, but we don't get to see Devin Booker on go the way that we used to. And like I said, that's, to me, is his best attribute. When he's less aggressive, he's not as good. And, you know, maybe a Jimmy Butler, one, you get the defense, right, which Bradley Beal lacks. And two, could be more of a facilitator. And also can hit clutch shots, obviously, down the stretch. So the Phoenix Suns, to me, makes a lot of sense. The Golden State Warriors was another team that people were talking about. First of all, I don't get that Dennis Schroeder trade. Like, it fucks everything up for Dennis Schroeder. I'll be honest with you. You're going to play them together? like, don't make me laugh. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with Steph Curry and Schroeder on the floor together? Like, what the fuck are we doing? And then, you know, you take the ball out of his hand, which is what Schroeder does really well. It made no sense to me either. it doesn't put him where he's strong, which is having the ball in his hands and being the decision maker. Unless you're trying to make Steph Curry essentially the full-time two guard, right? Which, again, still doesn't make sense. So that trade already made no sense. I get that there's less personalities. I think Brian Windhorst, and first of all, I didn't know that they started calling Brian Windhorst B-Dubs. When the fuck did that happen? When did they start calling him B-Dubs? I had to pause the video. I was watching it. But personalities-wise, maybe it'll be a little bit easier for Jimmy to get into the Warriors. But we're talking about him having to deal with Steph Curry, who's the lead guy there, Draymond, who's a loud voice, and Steve Kerr. And then they have their issue of they added a guy that they don't necessarily need in Schroeder. Kuminga is an issue that they're having unless Kuminga would be a part of that trade. So adding Jimmy Butler to that equation, to me, does not make sense. Sorry, it just doesn't make sense. And then you add the fact that Jimmy is not a three-point shooter. He never has been. And they don't have a whole lot of shooting. They're solid, but it's not what they used to be in terms of the Golden State Warriors. So Jimmy can't just go in and be like a Kevin Durant role, right? Mid-post. Like, they're gonna need him to hit some threes still. And it just wouldn't work. So really, the only team to me that makes a lot of sense would be the Phoenix Suns. But Pat Riley might send him to no man's land where he just sends him somewhere to spite him. And that's what I think is probably going to happen. The reason they haven't made a trade is because they can't figure out where to put him, right? They don't want to send him to a legit contender so that he goes and wins a ring this year. I think that's the last thing that Pat Riley wants to do, especially someone that talks like Jimmy. I don't think Pat Riley wants to deal with that shit. Pat Riley to me comes off as a really proud man. And he don't want somebody yapping at him all summer long. So the amount of teams keeps, it keeps dwindling down because where do you send a Jimmy Butler? Where you're going to get some kind of return. And from the sounds of it, a lot of teams are lowballing them right now, which I'm not surprised. If you're a team right now, I think you try to see how little you could give up to get Jimmy Butler, knowing the situation that they have. And I don't think they'll do it, but it's just me. I've always wondered why they don't just hold the player and just let their contract play out. Let them be in a shit situation. Let them be mad, because all it's going to do is hurt their stock. And it takes money off of your books. So now you can go and make moves over the summer, as opposed to getting another player that's under contract for the next 2 or 3 years. And now you're stuck with that player. Whether they are good or not, now you're stuck with that player for the next couple years, as opposed to giving yourself room to make moves and to maneuver in the offseason. But like I said, teams typically don't go that route. So I think they'll trade Jimmy. I think they'll trade Jimmy. I don't know for who or for what, but I think they'll get rid of him one way or the other. So that's GG's on that's GG's on Jimmy Butler's Miami Heat career. Because I think that's over. Now, we did see some massive matchups over the weekend, right? Some extremely big games where we wonder whether that could be a finals matchup or not, right? And, I'm obviously talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Boston Celtics, where the Thunder got their 15th straight win, right? And I want to start with the Oklahoma City Thunder here. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Because I get that this is a preference thing, but I'll just be 100% honest. I think the triple doubles over the last 10, 15 years or so it's been a little bit overblown. A little bit overblown. Because, yes, LeBron flirted with a triple-double often, but he always stayed at like 28, 7, and 7, right? There was always room for other players to get assists, other players to get rebounds. It was a real team effort still, right? Even with a dominant player like LeBron. And a Russell Westbrook, who I think was always great, but he didn't have triple-double seasons until that Oklahoma City team. That Oklahoma City team was damn near bare bones. Jokic has flirted with triple-doubles, but again, he's at it right now during probably the worst season that they've had in the last 3 to 4 years with the Denver Nuggets. Triple-doubles don't necessarily mean that your team is great. Sometimes it means that you have to do more because your team is not that great. And as a result of it, it doesn't always translate to winning. And for me, and this is why I say this is a preference thing, right? I think Michael Jordan is the best basketball player ever. Best basketball player I've ever seen. And a part of that was the style for me, right? This guy was a bucket. Can score 30 plus every single night. He can get rebounds and assists. But the idea of a team where you have to let other guys do their thing. Guards have to get their assists and their steals. Bigs get their rebounds and their blocks. That's just how that's how basketball has always been played. And when you see a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think if he wanted to, he could go out there and get a triple-double damn near every night. Genuinely. If he wanted to, I really think he could fuck around and get a triple-double damn near every night. But that wouldn't benefit the rest of the team. And to lead this Oklahoma City Thunder team, right? The last 2 seasons, I think for me personally right now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best basketball player in the world. And a lot of it has to do with, one, he can do everything on the floor. There isn't a thing that he can't do on the floor. I know I've critiqued his pull-up 3 to the right, but he's obviously worked on his 3-point shot over the summer. His 3-point shot has gotten a lot better this year. The best mid-range in the league. One of the best finishers in the league. His defense doesn't get talked about enough. I think he's a really good defender. He could pass. He can get rebounds. He could do everything on the basketball floor, including lead a team to wins. And when it comes to this team in the playoffs, you would never question Shea. It's about whether the other guys are going to keep doing the same thing. But Shea is a given. And so, moving forward, right, is it going to be J-Dub? I know Chet is injured right now. Is it going to be Chet? Who is going to be the consistent number 2 guy on this team to help take some pressure off of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Because this guy to me looks like the best basketball player in the world. like I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, this guy looks every bit like the best player in the world. And it's funny, right? Because, you know, Tatum has been very outspoken about his love for Kobe Bryant. That's why he played basketball and, you know, tried to pattern his game after him a little bit growing up, yada, yada, yada. Devin Booker is the same thing, right? Idolized Kobe, loves Kobe Bryant, Mamba Man, all of that stuff, right? And those guys have been pretty popular since they've been in the league. And then here comes Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who wasn't that guy when he came in the NBA. He was always good, but he was not that guy. He worked himself to be this player. And now, you know, he has the aura that people like to say, right? He got these quotes that he likes to say at the end of games. This guy embodies every bit of Kobe Bryant. From the game, the swag, the mentality and the way that he approaches the game of basketball. So I'm sure he takes all of this shit personally. He probably won't ever tell us, but I'm sure he took that Jason Tatum matchups personally, and every other matchup that's like that. And it's led his team to 15 straight wins. And and what, they're the number 1 team still in the Western Conference, right? They're still the number 1 team. Are they number 1 overall? 31-4. It's them in Cleveland just literally battling it out for that number 1 spot right now. But the Oklahoma City Thunder have a historically great defense that they have with them right now, right? So let's get to this game a little bit. Because the Oklahoma City Thunder won 105-92. So again, they're part of another low-scoring game. They held the Boston Celtics to 92 points, right? 27 points in the second half, 20% field goal shooting. And to me, this game came down to a couple of possessions, right? There were 3 turnovers that the Boston Celtics had. It was, I think, 2 at the end of the third quarter and 1 to start the fourth. Or vice versa, 1 at the end of the third and 2 to start the fourth. It was one of those. 3 turnovers. Massive, massive turnovers, right? And then Shai hits 2 threes on Drew Holiday. First one was a little, you know, his little punch step into the step back, which is pretty comfortable for him. Then the other one was a step back going to the right, falling away, fade away. It was a step back fade away, going to the right. Those possessions, I'm not going to say should, but you depend on Drew Holiday to be able to get stops in those possessions. So for Shai to dot his I's and hit 2 threes on Drew Holiday Massive. And then Lou Dort, towards the end of the fourth quarter, hit another 2 massive three-pointers that, the second one really put the game away, right? 3 turnovers and 4 threes is, to me, what this game came down to. And so, what is that, 12s? So they would yeah, that's literally, see, to me, 105-92, that's literally the difference right there. Plus, because they're plus 13, right? And so, here's the thing about the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? In the last 2 games, they were down in the first half to both the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. And then had an unbelievable third quarter. And J-Dub was talking about they get to lock into their switches, hone in on their principles on defense, and just make the right plays, right? To me, and they're obviously not the Golden State Warriors, but the way their defense and their runs feel, they carry momentum better than any team in the NBA to me. Their ability to snowball your mistakes is as good as it gets, because the reality about this Oklahoma City Thunder team is this, right? They have a lot of talent. They only have 1 star. And when it comes to playoff basketball, unfortunately, whether you like this or not, you need stars in the playoffs. And so, it's important for them to be able to carry momentum, not just for fast break points, but when the other team is in scramble, the talent differential is not as big of a deal, because now they're playing scramble, they're in mismatches. Guys get to play with a little bit of confidence in that situation. So for them, it really still starts on defense. And then they have such a consistent rock in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to where when shit goes wrong, just give it to Shai. Just give it to Shai. He'll figure something out. He'll either get a shot or get a shot for somebody else. He'll figure it out. So their runs in the third and in the fourth quarter, and you really got to give some credit to their coaching staff, because that's coaching. To be able to adjust at halftime to win these games and come back, that's coaching. And the players are executing it. So you got to give a lot of credit to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, I brought it up very briefly there, but that's where my reservation is with this team, right? Come hella high water in the playoffs, are those guys going to be able to put up the same numbers? When each loss means you're one step closer to getting bounced out of the playoffs, will these players make the same reads? Will they make the same plays? Will they do it with confidence? And this brings me to the other part. When the whistle becomes more of a factor, and the Oklahoma City Thunder have less stars than the other team, how will that affect them? Are they going to be able to overcome that? Because it's a part of the game. And I think for me, if you're one of these teams, right, and the Thunder are in the middle of their run, you have to be able to draw a foul. You need to be able to bait them into foul to, 1, stop the momentum. But 2, you now get to relieve a little bit of pressure, right? If you can draw a foul on Lou Dort, if you can draw a foul on J-Dub, on SGA, during these runs, it stops it, and now their defense doesn't get to be as impactful. I think Tatum was talking about their spacing during the run that the Thunder were having, and he's right. You almost have to break everything down and go one-on-one because they're so active and so physical. If you're trying to whip the ball around, they get deflections, they'll get steals, or even if you make the shot, they're pushing it down your throat going the other way. So your best bet really is to kind of isolate them in some of those situations and try to force fouls. But, they forced a bunch of turnovers on the Celtics, and it was really all she wrote after that. Now, we turn our attention to the Boston Celtics, right? And, let me see. I'm trying to find this. I'm trying to find the point differential stats. Let's see. Teams. Why am I not getting like the full thing? Let's see, it might be here. Excuse me. Regular season. What is net rating? 12.1. I want to say that's the point differential. I want to say that's point differential. It might not be, though. All right, well, regardless, right? The Boston Celtics right now are currently 26-10. And by every metric and also by every opinion, they are a much worse basketball team than they were last season. Right? When you hear the narratives on the three-point shooting, their defense, the Jayson Tatum narrative still, all of these things put together, right? In everyone's eyes, they are a much worse basketball team. You have to add the fact that Porzingis did not start the season. Jaylen Brown has missed a number of games, right? So they've had injuries left and right. And let's be honest, they have not played well this year. And still, they're 26-10. You see, it's not about who starts the year the best or who's the best by All-Star break. It's about what team is playing the best at the end of the season. And when it comes to these championship teams, right, you hear all about pacing and all of those things. Unless, like you had the Warriors that one year, unless you're a team like the Warriors where, one, they were walking into gyms winning by accident, but two, they were able to make history, they probably wouldn't have gotten that many wins because they would have been pacing themselves. And so there is going to be a point for the Boston Celtics where you're a month away from the playoffs and you can't have the same excuse. But right now, in January, they still have time to fix it. And if they were to look at last night's game or yesterday's game, right? They were up double digits in the first half. And granted, the Oklahoma City Thunder kicked it up a notch. Shai Gilgeous was unbelievable. And they played terrible. But they were still within 8 with like 2, 3, 4 minutes left in the game. And so, if this is the worst version of the Boston Celtics, and they're within striking distance with these teams that are having historic years, what happens when everything goes right? What happens when everything goes right and their experience in going deep in the playoffs year in and year out kicks in and their talent kicks in? I think that's the scary part about the Boston Celtics right now, right? Yes, they haven't played well, but is it possible that Cleveland has played their best basketball this year already? Is it possible that the Oklahoma City Thunder have gone on a stretch too early? Is it possible? Because like I said, it's a long season and you don't want to be playing your best basketball through November and December. You want to be playing your best basketball through April, May, and June. That means we may be cooked, Chad. Who's we? Because I'm about to go on a rant about my New York Knicks too, so I think you might be right, dog. But yeah, like we saw, listen, man, I knew as soon as the cup stuff ended that the Milwaukee Bucks would be exactly who we thought the Milwaukee Bucks. And they are ass. Like, they're ass. Like, it's fine, but they're ass. And they're exactly who they were. They blew their load too early. Like that. It is what it is. It happens sometimes. But the Boston Celtics still have time. From now till the end of February, from now to the All-Star break, we will find out a lot. I mean, a lot about the Boston Celtics, right? Because this is their time to really kick it into gear so that at the close of All-Star break, if you think the Knicks got it, listen, bro. Listen, my dad and I were talking. He was texting me so mad. He's so mad, dog. Like, I've grown to the part to where like I get upset still, but like I can laugh at this now. If you would have caught me like years ago, I would have been throwing something at a wall. I swear to God. But you know, hopefully, right? Hopefully, the Cleveland Cavaliers keep this up, because I would love to see a great battle in the playoffs. And also, I think, you know, Donovan Mitchell has been such a good basketball player for so many years that I think he deserves to get that kind of spotlight, right? If he goes and has an unbelievable series, or it's just a great series in general against the Boston Celtics. And then also, we don't get this, oh, they ran through an easy East or whatever the fuck people want to say, right? Because like we've said before, Elijah, no matter what, people will get mad. People will find something wrong no matter what. And, you know, I think that's what the Boston Celtics are dealing with. Like, Jason Tatum might be the most scrutinized superstar that we've seen. Him and Bron. It might be the most scrutinized basketball players that we have seen in recent memory. And they're 26-10, second in the Eastern Conference, right? After they just won an NBA championship. And like I said, I'm not trying to take them off the hook because they haven't played great. But like I said, imagine what it looks like when they are. And I get it. People are going to talk about the point differential. They're not as dominant as they were last year. The 3-point shot, yada, yada, yada. They're still in all of these games. They're still a very good basketball team. Don't let the media fool you. All these motherfuckers talking, oh, they're not. No, these guys are really good at basketball. like, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I still got confidence in this team. It is what it is. I still got confidence in them. Now, moving on, because like I had mentioned earlier, right? The Oklahoma City Thunder also beat my New York Knicks the other day. People need someone to hate. That's why D Rose was so special. Everyone loved him, which is incredibly rare. Yeah, no, facts. Facts. No, that's 100% facts. That's 100% facts. And I think that the funny part about it too is like, I saw there was an argument because Brandon Jennings said Tatum's the softest superstar that the Boston Celtics have ever had, right? Or something like that. And then Gil's like, 28 points ain't soft. Like, if I'm soft and I'm giving you 30, like, that's a problem, right? And I think people now find things to say about someone instead of just saying that they don't like the person. Like, it's fine for you to not like him. It's totally fine for you to not like a certain player or someone. Just say that. You don't have to come up with all of these different reasons as to. I've seen Jayson Tatum send people flying. Like, I've seen him play through contact. He plays damn near every night. Like, where does that narrative come from? Like he complains to the ref. Luka complains to the refs more than him. Nobody calls Luka soft. Like, just say you prefer one player versus the other for whatever reason, the style, whatever. But like, to come up with some of these other narratives just to say the same thing, to me is funny. Like, like it's just funny. Like, he's soft, but they're always in the conference finals. Always one of the best players in the league. Always puts up numbers. Like, it's just funny. It's just funny to me. And Gil was like, well, go out there and guard him. Because I'm sure everyone else has a different experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like the same thing with like LeBron, right? People were calling him soft in basketball. And it's like, a lot of the people that were saying that weren't playing against him. Like, it was just odd. You'll take this opportunity. You take every opportunity, bro. I will say I love about you, Elijah, because you are very consistent. You are very consistent. I've never seen you flip-flop on any of these takes at all, and I love that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that shit. Oh, did y'all see the other day? Jokic got mad at the ref. I think it was like I forget which ref it was. He was mad at the way that the ref bounced it to him. And he's like, come on, you gonna throw me the ball like that? I thought it was hilarious. He made him pass him the ball again. Right? Like, to anybody that ever questioned whether Jokic was a star or not in this league, right there, he apologized. He said, my bad. The ref said, my bad to him. Like, imagine that. He said, my bad to Jokic. Jokic is still an unbelievable player, by the way. Don't let the little conversation earlier fool you. And like I said, I think for me, too, it's just a preference thing. Like, I prefer SGA's style of basketball, right? But we've gotten sidetracked 14 times. But honestly, I didn't mind it because I don't want to talk about the Knicks losing, but we have to. Wait, you wish what? Jokic mannerisms are hilarious. I don't even think he tries to be funny. He's just funny. And not for nothing, the NBA has done a great job of just making his natural personality marketable, and it's worked. It really has worked. It's worked unbelievably, honestly. Um, Listen, I should just read. Let me just read what my dad said. I'm snitching on him, but it's okay. So, my dad was talking to me. Good old Knickerbockers. He was like, massive game on Friday, right? And then we obviously lost the game, and I was like, I wish we won the game. And then my dad goes, our coach sucks. That's why he hasn't won anything. Yo, I gotta stop. But I be dying when my dad is upset at the Knicks. It is so funny to me, bro, because, like, I feel him. But, like, just seeing him the way he says shit, like, I just be cracking up. But, like, is he wrong? I'll never forget the conversation I had with him when he was like, I bet you he got a losing record in the playoffs. And him and my brother looked it up. And he does have a losing record in the playoffs. He goes, I told you so. But, like, we really do have an issue. I'm not going to lie. And I get it. We're third in the Eastern Conference. When we look good, we look really good. But, like, that Oklahoma City Thunder game, for example, that can't be a Jalen Brunson game. If you were to run into them in the NBA Finals, for example, that series can't be a Jalen Brunson series because they have at least 4 defenders they could throw at him. So, depending on Jalen Brunson to be Jalen Brunson, and this is my issue with undersized point guards, you can put taller players on them and it makes their life that much harder. As opposed to when your star is 6'6", 6'8". It's a little bit more difficult to defend those players. But when your best player is 6'2", you could put a 6'4" motherfucker on him and he'll make his life hell just by being taller. The art of being fed up. Sometimes you get so fed up, all your feelings and guesses become right. No, real shit. And it's just like, it's just the life of a Knicks fan, right? Tom Thibodeau is a really good coach. I think he is best suited to be an assistant coach to someone like a Steve Kerr or something like that. That to me would be the most ideal situation where, okay, Tom Thibodeau, you got our defense. I get to innovate our offense. I get to deal with making adjustments. Minutes don't have to be super consistent every game. Like, there's a lot of other things that need to happen, right? I saw people debating the minutes on the team and how our starters average more minutes than anyone. And they're like, oh, they get paid millions of dollars. They should be able to do that. No, bitch. That's not how a team operates. If our starters are playing all of the minutes, then that means that the rest of our team is ass. Why is that concept so difficult to understand? And maybe they're not ass, but maybe they need to gain confidence, and in order to do that, they have to play. So either way, it's a problem. Either way, it's an issue. And, oh, you got to be able to play 82 games. Well, guess what, buddy? After they play 82 games, there's this thing called the playoffs, where the games are even more intense, where they have to play those type of minutes already. So you mean to tell me Those guys aren't going to get burnt out by the playoffs. I just was talking about pacing yourself as a team, as a player. They don't get to do that. And then, like I said, we need to be able to adjust. Against the Oklahoma City Thunder team that has, is Hartenstein even a 7-footer? Like, Cat needs to be able to dominate that game. You need to go to Cat and say, hey, buddy, check this out. I need you to get at least 44. We gonna post you up. We gonna set pin downs for you to get threes. Otherwise, we gonna post you up. You get to drive. Do whatever the fuck you gotta do. But Jalen Brunson has to go through a million people, and the first one is Lou Dort. What do you actually expect him to do against Lou Dort? Like on some real shit. Like, what do you actually expect him to do against Lou Dort? We saw in the playoffs the Indiana Pacers, who aren't known as a defensive team, put bigger bodies on Brunson, and it worked. So go figure. I think for the Knicks moving forward, we got to figure out what this bench really looks like, because it's just the starters are playing the whole game. We need to figure out how to properly use Cat and Brunson depending on the matchup. And I told my dad, I was like, man, I'm really excited for Mitchell Robinson to get back, right? Because now it allows us the freedom to, okay, we come in the playoffs. If we need two bigs in a series against, I don't know, like the Cleveland Cavaliers, because they run two bigs. All right, we got two bigs to match up against them. If we don't need him, all right, then we slide Cat to the 5, and we could dominate like that. And my dad with the most deadpan tone goes, "Do you really think Tibbs is gonna do that?" It shouldn't be funny. But it is. He was so dead ass. He's not wrong. Tibbs isn't gonna do that. He's just not gonna do that. And I'm just left there speechless, because I don't know what to say to him as a result. And I told you already, man, since the beginning of the year, this needs to be a process for the New York Knicks. We can't get everything back in 1 year, right? Our goal needs to be to make it into the Eastern Conference Finals and fuck around and try to make it to the finals, right? Because it's all about stepping stones. We still need some losses as a team to be able to gain and learn from, right? And I swear to God, if we end up firing Coach Thibodeau and we have to do this whole thing again next year, I think, in my opinion, that resets the timer, right? Because now you have to go get readjusted to a whole nother coach and da-da-da-da-da. I almost wish that we could get another coach in as the head coach and have Thibodeau be the assistant head coach. That's just me. Because like I said, it's not that he's a horrible coach, right? When it comes to these certain situations and matchups, I just don't think he does very well because he's stuck in his ways, right? He likes things a certain way, and that just is what it is. So, yeah, man, I don't know what the hell is going to happen, but... Oh, and then we lost to the Chicago Bulls. Don't even get me started. And then we lost to the Chicago Bulls, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, for real, what are we doing? Kobe White and Zach LaVine had 33. 33. Some bullshit. But that's gonna do it for me now, because I'm gonna get all mad and upset. I'm gonna get tight if we keep talking about the Knicks. That's gonna do it for me for now. Voice is pretty much back. I know I missed Friday. My ass could not speak, but we're back. We're gonna lock in for the rest of the year, as you already know. We're in it, man. We're in it. Now till All-Star Weekend, locked in. We are locked the fuck in. But that's gonna do it for me for now, man. I appreciate y'all as always for hanging out with me. It is always a blast. Y'all are the best, man. I really appreciate y'all as always. Y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me. And I appreciate y'all for that, man. So I will see y'all later. I'll see y'all on Wednesday, man. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Have a great Tuesday. And we'll be back here on Wednesday, man. Peace, peace, peace. Y'all have a great